when I tell you, welcome, one and all, to Sipping on Ink. I am Kat Williams. And tonight's guest, well, here at Sipping on Ink, we bring you the best the LGBTQ community has to offer. And with that being said, tonight's guest is the poet, entrepreneur, all around beautiful black woman, Love Rains. Welcome, Love, to Sipping on
Hello,
Ink.
hello.
How
Thank
are
you.
you?
I'm happy to be on Sipping on E.
Oof. And it took a minute for us to get here, did it not? Right?
It's
Oof.
okay, but we got here.
Yes, yes. It's been y'all. We had tech issues tonight. Yesterday I showed up an hour early. Tonight we had tech issues. My hair's all over here. I've been stressing for the last 15 minutes running around this kitchen trying to get this show on so we could do today's show for you tonight for me. And thank you, love, for being patient. And so we're going to go right into the show because we're a little bit behind and everybody's waiting. So, love, we're going to start out with the easiest question of the night or the day, and the one we always ask everyone who comes on Sipping on Ink, and that is, who is Love Reigns?
Who is Love Reigns? That is such a complicated question.
Mm,
But not really. It's I am Love Reigns is a poet, a creator, a curator of dopeness. Love is love. That's who Love Reigns is.
okay, all right, all right. So, why the name Love Reigns?
Um, so what's funny is okay. So there's a story behind that. For whatever reason, when I first started doing poetry in Jacksonville, I didn't want to just go as Taryn. So I said, okay, well, I'm going to come up with a name, and the name Rain, Reign, was the name that I chose. And so started going around and calling myself Rain. Then I found out there was a poet who I at the time I was like, okay, she's a real poet. I'm just doing this for fun. So I'm going to change my name because I don't want to take anything away from her because her name was Rain. So I then started going by Rain the Unpoet because I never saw myself as a poet. I
Okay,
just did it for fun. So I was Rain the Unpoet for a while, and then people started getting mad at me for saying that I wasn't a poet.
okay.
And so I said, okay, I'm going to be the artist formerly known as Rain the Unpoet. I'm so dramatic. So I went as the artist formerly known as Rain the Unpoet for a while. And then one day I said, okay, this is ridiculous. Let me just come up with something um, that truly um, just shows and displays what I am and who I am. And so Love Reigns. That's
Yeah.
how Love Reigns was birthed. So
Cool, cool. And how long have you been in the game? I mean, you went through three or four metamorphoses name wise, so that means some time has been spent getting to where you're at
yeah,
today.
I will say all of this whole process probably started in like 2005
Okay.
maybe. So yeah, almost like 15 years now. So yeah.
I don't know why I thought it was gonna be many more years than that. I don't know why though, cause
No.
yeah, but
I mean I've always done poetry. I didn't really actually start performing though until I moved to Jacksonville in
okay.
2005. So
Oh, okay.
Jacksonville was kind of the start of all of that for me.
And I think that's when I met you. Then was in 2005. But I assumed that you had been doing everything well before then because you were really polished when I met you, and you
Yeah.
were already doing. I mean, you were being featured at that point. I mean, like you became a featured poet rather quickly, right?
Yeah, I think what it was once I started, I guess the best way I can describe it is I kind of got bit by the bug.
Hmm.
Um, Once I started performing and meeting all these, incredible people and poets and performers, I loved that world. It was, kind of like, oh man, like I found a place here. So this is the world that I'm just gonna stay in, and I've been in that world ever since. So
Yeah, I mean the poetry scene in Jacksonville was hot at one point. I mean, it was massively hot. It was always something to do, courtesy of Tiffany and Emmanuel. And what was it?
Yes.
Nocturnal Nights or Nocturnal?
Nocturnal Escape.
Nocturnal Escape.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's what it was. And that's why I thought you had been performing for quite a while because I ran into you in that circle for many years, and then you started doing your own thing, and now you have become, or your poetry event has become one of the longest running poetry events in Jacksonville's history. Can you tell us a little bit about that?
Yeah, so the cipher, open mic poetry, and actually, as of last year, became the longest running open mic in Jacksonville history. So we were able to surpass Nocturnal Escape, in that, just as far as how long we have been running, but without Nocturnal Escape, there would be no cipher. Without Tanya Smart and We Speak Poetry, there would be no cipher. So after 11 years, and the cipher is actually still going on here in Jacksonville, so it's continuous. But I decided to leave the cipher in July of last year, just to pursue other things. And then you just get to a point where you say, okay,
Right.
well, it's time for me to do something different. It just wasn't, as much as I love the cipher and the people involved in it. It wasn't fun anymore. It was becoming more of a job.
Mm.
And so I'm a firm believer in that when things don't become fun anymore, it's time to do something different. So
No, I totally get that. I totally get that. I've been there many times, and Sipping on Ink is a prime example of that. I stopped it for
yeah,
5 years, and now I'm back again, but I'm in a different format. I'm in a different space, and I don't know how long this is going to last. But I totally get that. Sometimes you got to break away to come back again, and if you don't come back, then it just wasn't meant to be, and that's fine too. But you put the time in, and that's what counts in the end. So I am a huge poet head. Back in the day, I can admit to not being too much in it right now, but when I was in it, I was there, doing it, loving it, writing it, experiencing it. Tell me, what does poetry mean to you, and why do you do poetry?
poetry. Poetry has always been my saving grace.
Mm.
It's always it's my therapy.
Mm-hmm.
There's things that I can say on pen and paper that I don't always feel that I can say, verbally. And you give me a piece of paper and a pen, a napkin, whatever I can get my hands on, and I will write. I will write my heart out, write my whole heart. But when it comes to actually speaking some things, it gets harder to do
Mm.
that when you verbalize things. So poetry has always been um, my voice. It's been an opportunity for me to truly express how I feel about life in general. So
Cool.
poetry is everything.
I
To
got you.
me, it is.
I got you. So you decided once you got to Jacksonville to pursue it per se, and I always ask people, or I always wonder, can you make a living as a poet? And I know that's sort of that's a real broad question, and
Yeah.
and I'm because you can do so many different directions with poetry, but really truly, if someone who's I want to write, I want to be a poet, can they make a living as a poet in today's market?
I'm going to answer this in the most honest and vulnerable way I possibly can. Can you make a living as a poet? Yes, you can. You absolutely can. I know that because I have been doing it so long. What what I've been faced with now is you've been doing this for 15 years.
Hmm.
There's no reason that you shouldn't be further along than you are.
Oh.
Uh, there's no reason why you haven't fully um, spread your wings. And um, this whole quarantine process has allowed me to reflect on that and to think about that because yeah, I could have. There's a lot of things that I could have done by now, but there's a lot of things that I just chose not to do because one, because of fear, and
Hmm.
then two, constantly being concerned. Oh well, what if they think I'm trying to be better than them, or what a what if I leave my mom? You know, just things that we tell ourselves, um, to that allows fear to set in,
Mm-hmm.
and then we end up not doing the things that we we were meant to do. So I'm at that point now. So that's a very long-winded answer or response to your question. So the question to answer your question, yes, you can. You can make a living from it, and I'm living proof that you can, because even though I have allowed fear to set in, I have been able to. I've been afforded a lot of opportunities from poetry
Okay.
that that no one can ever take away from me. So yeah, you can.
And the only reason why I ask that question is because people always come to me and they say, Kat, I have a book of poetry I want to do. And I'm like, do it, but don't walk in the door thinking you're going to be an Amazon best-selling poet. You know what I'm saying? But I want you to be realistic with it. It takes work. You have a book of poems, but you have to work that book of poems. Just like you have to get on stage, you have to push that material out there, and you do that to me. So I figured like you would be the best person to type, at this point to answer that question. And there's bump and bruises with every profession that you go into, so it's not unusual for you to say, "Hey, I thought I'd be further, but I'm a lot further than some other people, though, too." So,
Right. But I think one of the main lessons I feel that I have learned, being 15 years into this, is you have to diversify.
mm,
Um, you can't put all your eggs in one
right.
basket, as they say. You have to, yeah, you have to do a book,
Mm-hmm.
but then, host an open mic,
Mm-hmm.
go back to corporate America and work for a little bit, and make all of your coworkers your fans first. Whatever it is, there's always something to do. There's always an opportunity. There's always different avenues that you can go. And one thing that I can honestly say that I'm proud of myself for is being able to diversify. There's a lot of different roads that I've traveled. There's a lot of roads that I'm still traveling. I have a lot of irons in the fire, um, but I love that. I'm happy about that because it has made me very versatile,
Mm-hmm.
in terms of a performer, in terms of an entertainer, in terms of um, just being able to keep going in this business. And I know that there's so much more that I'm meant to do. So, yeah.
And that brings up my next question, of course, and one maybe that I should have asked earlier. What inspires you to keep to not only do produce poetry, but to actually keep going?
Um, People inspire me.
Okay.
Um, People inspire me because I I often think back on times where I I wrote a poem that was completely self-serving at first, as far as writing it and just getting it out,
Mm-hmm.
and then remembering, the times where I've recited poems, and people come up to me in the audience or from the audience saying, "Thank you for your words. Thank you for um, just for being so vulnerable." I felt the same way. I thought I was the only person. um, one thing in particular, one moment in particular, I was actually in Tallahassee performing for an LGBT show, and a mother came up to me after the show, and she was crying, and she was like, "My daughter just came out to me 2 weeks ago, and
Mm-hmm.
I decided to bring her here, and hearing your story and your poetry, it actually gave me better insight on how to be a better mother to her."
Mm-hmm.
And it was just like, wow. you know um, and before then, the daughter had attempted suicide. So for That's a moment that always sticks out. That's why I always say that people inspire me. My life inspires me. I'm just Anybody that knows me knows that I am genuinely a pretty happy person.
Mm-hmm.
No matter what's going on, no matter what's happening, you will almost always see me smiling or happy or laughing or goofing off, or just being happy to be alive. So life's experiences, and people inspire me.
Mm. So, of course, I'm going to ask you to do some poetry. I hope you have a piece. But before we get to that, before we get to that, what type of poetry do you do? I mean, we've been talking about poetry, but I mean, poetry is almost like beauty is to the eye of the beholder to a certain extent. Everybody doesn't like everything. So, what type of poetry do you typically write? Is it would you consider it a genre, or is it just your emotions, your thoughts, your feelings? Is it about
Yeah, I
life?
don't really I don't know how I would describe it. I just think it's how I feel.
Hmm.
Um Whatever is going on around me. Um yeah, I wouldn't it's hard to kind of categorize it for me.
No, I totally get it. Because, I always say that poetry is really truly in the eye of the beholder. I mean, I can read a poem today that I am absolutely in love with. And a month from now, I'll be like, I don't know what I thought about that poem. But it's emotions, you know what I'm saying? Like the mother who found you at that exact moment. You know what I'm saying? She needed to be with her daughter in that moment. 3 months from now, she may not be as connected to the poem, but at that exact moment, it was her lifeline. And so I get it. So I totally get it. So you've been doing this for a while. You're doing other things. What are you doing? You said you left the cipher. What are you doing now?
So when I left the cipher, I went to radio. So I did
Really?
radio. Yeah, doing radio. Well, did it for a little bit. I'm gonna get back into radio. Um, I started an event called the Closet, which is I'm not gonna say it's similar to the Cipher. It's just it's an opportunity, the same kind of opportunity that the Cipher created for people as far as artists are concerned. The Closet is doing that for the LGBT community because
Hmm.
what I realized is that there's not many spaces that highlight and showcase LGBT performers and artists, and
Hmm.
so I was looking for a platform like that and I couldn't
Hmm.
find it, so I decided to create it. So that's what that's what I've decided to focus my time and energy on is the closet, providing that opportunity for LGBT artists. Um, I'm gonna get into some podcasting soon.
Gotcha.
So I'm pretty excited about that. That's going to be really fun. And other than that, I'm just continuing to write, continuing to learn and evolve. Excuse me, learn and evolve and understand Taryn and understand who Love Reigns is and continue to show that to the world. So that's what
Oh.
I'm doing.
So the closet, of course, the
Oh,
term.
and then I can point that out. That's also what I do, archery.
Oh,
Um,
really? Wow. I've had the most interesting guests this week. Everybody's doing something different. Archery. Why archery? I gotta ask, why archery? I love it though. I've only did it like one time. It's a lot of you gotta be strong as hell to do that thing.
I love it. I'm having such a blast with it. I actually I went to a retreat years ago, put on by my spiritual mother, Ma Hamilton, and during the retreat, one of the activities was archery. And I was like, well, I had never done it. And I was like, sure, I'll try it. And I tried it and I fell in love with it. And so I've been pretty much going hard about it and with it ever since.
Awesome.
Really more so this past year since I've had more time. But I love it. It's a stress reliever, and it's exhilarating. I love it.
Oh, cool. You got to do some videos of you doing it and, show us. Because, black folks, black women, we tend to follow, we go down that little similar pathway. And things like that are just off the beaten path. But it's only because we haven't been introduced to it, I think. But I've actually watched competitions on TV, which is really weird. I'll watch anything on TV to a certain extent for competition wise. I don't know why. But I actually watched an archery competition in the last 6 months, and I thought it was amazing. And the girls were
Yeah,
just, they were beautiful.
I, that's what I do in my free time. I watch like archery videos.
See, exactly. That's what I'm saying. They're their people, which is weird. I'm telling you, I did watch a competition. It was great. So, before we get into the piece that you're going to perform for us, because I know we're going to get a piece or two,
Mhm.
um,
Yes,
coronavirus is
definitely.
going on. How's it affecting you? I mean, are you writing? Are you not writing? Are you working? Are you homebound? Are you essential?
So I am working from home. I work for a bank, so I'm working from home, and I love it. I am enjoying not having to go in nobody's office. I'm enjoying being home. Um, I'm enjoying having time to focus on the things that I've always wanted to focus on and just didn't have the time to do it. Um, I'm enjoying it, and it really didn't stop anything for me. Yeah, some gigs got canceled and shows got canceled, but my immediate thought was, okay, so we're not going to be able to see each other and or see people in person. What can we do to help artists? Because
Mm.
right now, I just saw artist after artist saying, "Oh man, I got this show was canceled and this
Mm-hmm.
show was canceled. I'm losing this much money." And I have friends who are full time artists.
Right.
And my first thought was, how can I help? How can I help them? So decided to do that, put the idea out there with some friends, my friends over at Outjacks Radio, and they answered the call, and we were able to just continue. Like, I honestly, I feel it was a pretty seamless transition. As much work as we put in a matter of 2 days just to do that first virtual open mic that we did last week or 2 weeks ago, it was pretty seamless and effortless almost. Just from the idea, from inception to actually the whole production of the show, it happened in a matter of 48 hours,
Awesome.
and we still have been going ever since. Yeah, it's caused some bumps in the road, but and no, we haven't been able to fully replace or help artists the way that we want to, the way that I want to financially, but we're still showing the world like, hey, we're here,
Mm-hmm.
and we're still gonna figure out a way to bring this to you. So I'm enjoying it. Selfishly, I'm just like, hey, I'm kind of digging this a little
Right.
bit.
So are you turning into the introvert you never knew you were?
I've always. It's funny when I first started my career and doing poetry, I was always an introverted extrovert.
Mm-hmm.
Um, and but I just always I loved being around people. Now that I've gotten older, I don't know what has changed. I love people, still love people. People inspire me, all that good stuff. But I don't like always being around
Yep.
them. So I love being able to. Plus, I think everything is funny. So I love being able to go to events and showing up and then just disappearing.
Right.
People saying, "Hey, hey," and then I just leave.
Right.
Like, I love that. There's
Mm-hmm.
something mysterious about it. And people, they by the time they turn and look for me, I'm in my bed.
Right.
I think it's funny. I love it. So yeah, I'm definitely that was happening before this whole coronavirus thing anyway. So it just kind of helped it.
I totally get it. I totally get it. I've done events and I've put on some events and I'm like, I just want to show up. And then I want to leave when I get ready to leave. I want to show love. I want to throw up the fist and then I want to head toward the door. Because I'm good.
Exactly.
I'm good
I'll
now.
say hey.
Yeah.
I'll
I
say
s
hey to everybody, and you know what I'm saying? But then if I know 30 people in the room and I spend an hour just speaking to these 30 people, I don't want to spend another hour saying bye to those same 30
Right.
people.
Right. Totally get it. Totally get it. Totally get it. So, where are we going to see the closet? Are we going to see that online then, doing this Corona thing? Because I mean, we're looking at maybe another 2 months, maybe, possibly three.
Yeah. Yeah. So the closet, we are going to go do some online things with the closet. The governor here in Florida just changed some things yesterday, so we're trying to navigate that and figure out what our next moves are going to be, or our next move is going to be. But yeah, for sure, the closet is definitely still up and running. We're still going to provide opportunities for LGBT artists, and in a way, we've been doing that because I host the virtual open mic on Thursday night, and then on Saturdays we do a show called "The Show Must Go On," where we've featured some drag performers and some LGBT artists. So that's definitely something that is in the works. So yeah, the closet, yeah, it's still around.
Awesome, awesome, awesome. Now we've talked about all the work that you're going to be doing, all the work that you have done building up to this point. What we really haven't talked about is the process of poetry. Like, and I know somebody in the audience is asking, how do you write a poem? How do you sit down or do you write it in your head first? Are you like Jay-Z? You just spit it and it's good to go. How do you write a poem?
It depends. It depends on whatever is happening at the moment. There's times where I could be having a conversation with someone and I'm inspired by something they said or something that just uh, popped in my head, and so I need to write it down. There's times where I'm just driving and things pop in my head, a song or a line. And then there's other times where I can sit and just flush out a whole poem in one sitting. So it really just depends on whatever my environment is at that
Hmm.
time, whether it's a conversation, whether it's people, whether it's um, nature. It just depends. I am a self-proclaimed lazy writer. I don't write as much as people think I do, but I have a lot of poetry that I just haven't shared with the world. Which is why I love National Poetry Month, because it forces me to share with people my poetry. So.
And when is National Poetry Month?
So it actually started yesterday. So April is National Poetry
Oh,
Month.
cool.
Poets around the world are doing a 30 for 30 challenge where you write a poem a day for 30 days.
Ooh.
So this is the third year that I'm actually participating in it. I intend to fully do it. So
So if someone wants to
so
read your poems that you're going to be sharing for the next 30 days or the rest of April, where can they find you and your poetry?
Facebook, you can go to my Love Reigns, or on Instagram at I am Love Reigns.
Cool. Now, during this month of poetry sharing, is there any particular poets that you're going to be looking at? Any poets that you admire, you follow, and you're going to see if they're going to pop out some new hot shit? And I say hot shit
Man, of
because, you know.
course, Ebony Payne English here in Jacksonville. I just love her. I love her as a person. So a lot of the poets here, Eric Williams, Lady G, um, who else? Man, Ashley Hayes out of Atlanta, Lyric. Um, there's a lot of poets, man, that I'm constantly, uh, I don't know, Cuban, Moses West. I love. There's a lot of poets that I love and I followed. Um, if Sonny Patterson does the 30 by 30, I'm definitely all ears and eyes for that.
Oh, cool.
Georgia Mead, Queen Sheba, all of these amazing poets. So those are poets that I love to look out for.
Awesome. So we're coming to the end of the show. We would love, if you would love, share something with us. Anything. We don't care how old it is, how new it is. Anything you want to share with us.
You know what? I actually will share my poem that I did for my first poem for National Poetry Month
Ooh,
that I
all right.
wrote yesterday.
Get my
So
sip of
it doesn't have
coffee.
a title, but I guess I will dedicate this poem to all of the queens and um, goddesses out there, the women who often forget who they are.
Ooh,
So yeah, cool. You ready?
I'm ready.
All right. You shine like moon and star engaging in an exchange of energy. Like light and love conspiring with universe tendencies, you glow. like a well lit path saying, "Follow me to the destiny of your being, Karana." Centered in the depths of you, you heal and peel back layers, purveyor of spirit, knowing futures are only truly lived by being present in the now. Experience flows from your lips like waves, then settling calm. You move like water, free, taking on every form of this existence. You goddess, you move like footsteps and intention walk hand in hand. You are journey, 1,000 miles on the road not taken, but worth the wait, whatever time that means. You gleam like sun rising east, peace reflected. You speak and seek wisdom in prayer, desire manifested from first exchange. The range of you is not easy to detect. You are depth, wisdom sage versed in truth. You are proof that God exists. The Nile running through your veins proves kings and queens were born from you. God is you. God is you. You goddess, you are words that we have never known. You are movement and you are peace. You are joy that never ceases. You are love uncharted and and abounding. You are necessary and divine. You goddess, you have every right to damn it shine.
Whoop, whoop. I got it. I'm with you. Yes, yes. God is you. Oh, yeah, yeah. Say that a few times every morning
Yeah.
when you wake up. God is you. I got you. I got you. Thank you. Woo, that was hot. You know, it's been a minute since I've heard good poetry. Not live poetry, just
Man,
good poetry. And that was, you blessed me, and I thank you for that. I really, truly, woo,
that is for you.
thank you. Thank you. I like that. God is you. All right. All right. Woo. We had some technical difficulties getting on today, but we are here. We have done it, and it's been a great interview. It's been a long time since I've laid eyes on Taryn. I've known her for many, 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 many years. We're getting old, girl, and I'm older than
Right.
her. So, and you're doing
Getting
marvelous
better.
things. Yes, yes, yes. And it's been a thrill having you on today. Thank you for coming on to Sipping on Ink. I think this is like the second time, but you were on like the first year when I did the show too.
Yeah,
Yeah,
yeah, that's right. That's right.
yeah, the
Yeah.
first year you were on my show when I was really only featuring poets because I was really into poetry at that point. And I don't write that much poetry. I love it. I get it. I like the expression. I like to sit down with someone who's, and expressing themselves. And this has been a great interview. Just getting to know you outside of, seeing you out at events years ago and hanging out and laughing, sharing a drink, but actually sitting down with you and finding out who you are and what really makes you tick. So I appreciate it. Let us know. Keep us in the know on what's going on. When you're having some event, tag us. We share it with the crowd. I don't share a lot on my page. I really don't because people get over. They just send me too much. But send me some stuff, and we'll share it with the world. And it's been a great show. Thank you to everybody who tuned in today. We'll be back next week for Sipping on Ink.